you're saying, son?
I want to hear about the story of Job, but first of all, I've just looked up the winged victory of Samothrace, as we were talking about victory. What does that mean? What does victory mean? So the winged victory of Samothrace, also called the Nike of Samothrace. As in Nike trainers, it's spelled the same.
Well, Nike's a god.
It's spelled the same. Well, right, okay, well it tells you about that here. It's a 2nd century BC marble sculpture of the Greek goddess Nike, or Victory. Since 1884, it has been prominently displayed at the Louvre and is one of the most celebrated sculptures in the world. H.W. Jansen described it as the greatest masterpiece of Hellenistic sculpture. Gosh, there you go, that's what it is.
Hellenistic. But anyway, who's this Samothrace?
I don't know. Description: the winged victory of Samothrace, discovered in 1863, is estimated. It says if it was discovered in 1863, what does that mean?
It existed before then.
I know. What?
When is it? Anyway, read it. We're assuming that it's from the 2nd century.
Oh, there's a statue.
Yeah. Oh, we've just discovered it.
Oh, there it is.
Obviously somebody made it.
No,
but go on.
It is estimated to have been created around between 200 and 190 BC. It is, so they're saying it's over it's 2,000 years old, according to what we know about time.
Okay.
What we've been told we know about time. It is 8 feet, 2.44 metres high. It was created not only to honour the goddess Nike, but to honour a sea battle. Interesting. It conveys a sense of action and triumph, as well as portraying artful flowing drapery, as though the goddess was descending to alight upon the prow of a ship. Modern excavations suggest that the Victory occupied a niche above a theatre, and also suggested it accompanied an altar that was within view of the ship. Monument of Demetrius I Poliocetes. Demetrius I, or Demetrius I Poliocetes, 337 to 283 BC.
That sounds like the rule of Demetrius I.
Oh, yeah, Demetrius I. Rendered in grey and white, Thasian and Parian marble, the figure originally formed part of the Samothrace temple complex dedicated to the great gods Megaloithoi.
What's all this stuff about gods?
Megaloithoi. It stood on a rostral pedestal of grey marble from Latos, representing the prow of a ship, most likely the Triherneolia, and represents the goddess as she descends from the skies to the triumphant fleet. Before she lost her arms, which have never been recovered. Nike's right arm is believed to have been raised, cupped around her mouth to deliver the shout of victory. The work is believed by who? The work is notable for its convincing rendering of a pose where violent motion and sudden stillness meet. For its graceful balance and for the rendering of the figure's draped garments, compellingly depicted as if rippling in a strong sea breeze. Similar traits can be seen in the Laocoon group, which is a reworked copy of a lost original that was likely close both in time and place of origin to Nike, but while Laocoon, vastly admired by Renaissance and classic artists, has come to be seen by whom, it says it in brackets, as a more self-conscious and contrived work. Nike of Samothrace is seen as an iconic depiction of triumphant spirit and of the divine momentarily by whom again, and of the divine momentarily coming to face with man. It is possible, however, that the power of the work is enhanced by the very fact the head is missing.
Put your own face there, like some seaside.
The statue's outstretched right wing is a symmetric plaster version of the original left one.
So they've replaced the original one with a copy of the one that was remaining. So the left one was still there, the right one was broken, so they put a plaster version of it.
They put a plaster on what? Have they put a plaster
on marble. It was marble, wasn't it, originally?
Right, and when you take a pound of flesh, what happens?
You get blood, man.
What do you put over that? What do you put on to stop the blood?
On it.
This is all cosmic, by the way, isn't it?
Yeah, symbolised.
Okay. Well,
Victory's lost its head in its arms. And one of its wings is plaster. That's what the cost of war is.
Just, shall I carry on reading?
Yeah, carry on.
The statue's outstretched right wing is a symmetric plaster version of the original left one. As with the arms, the figure's head has never been found. But various other fragments have since been found. In 1950, a team led by Carl Lehman unearthed the missing right hand of the Louvre's winged Victory. Wow. How on earth? The figureless hand had slid out of sight under a large rock. Sounds like the Addams Family. Near where the statue had originally stood. On the return trip home, Dr. Phyllis Williams Lehman identified the tip of the goddess's ring finger and her thumb in a storage drawer at the Kunsthistorisches Museum in Vienna, where the second winged Victory is displayed. There's two of them. I know what this is making. Well, no, hang on. Right, okay.
Well, it's interesting when they make more than one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you devalue the other one.
Hang on, there's more, isn't there? Hang on a sec. It's like they're trying to explain it, like, you know, it's like, yeah, it was over there. I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? Anyway, right, where was I? The fragments have been reunited with the hand, which is now in a glass case in the Louvre, next to the podium on which the statue stands. The different degree of finishing, what was the significance of that? The different degree of finishing of the sides has led scholars to think that it was intended to be seen from 3/4 on the left. Partial inscription on the base of the statue includes the word Rhodium, in brackets, indicating that the statue was commissioned to celebrate a naval victory by Rhodes, at the time the most powerful maritime state in the Aegean, which itself would date the statue to 288 BC at the earliest. History. The sculptor is thought to be Pythokritos of Rhodes. When first discovered on the island of Samothrace, then part of the Ottoman Empire and known as Semideric in Greek, Samothraki. I'll have to ask published in 1863. It was suggested that the victory was erected by the Macedonian general Demetrius I Poliorcetes after his naval victory at Cyprus. Wow. It's got something to do with Cyprus now. Between 295 and 289 BC, the Archaeological Museum of Samothrace continues to follow these originally established provenance and dates.
Makes you wonder why leave Britain and go on a boat and you can't see no bloody land and you might die for what? Fame and glory. What fame and glory?
No.
What are you looking for?
To get away from Britain.
No, there's that, but it wasn't like it is
for a
now.
bit. Just for a bit.
I mean, I think, yeah, apart from the obvious trading with Europe and that, they was on a quest. And places like Cyprus, they get a bit of the clue. Because Cyprus was like the gateway and the stronghold for a lot of things. See, the Ark of the Covenant, when that disappeared, Israel, the nation, stopped being Israel, the nation. They got fragmented. They no longer had that power of God to protect them and destroy their enemies. That was the first kind of nuclear, electronic, digital technology that they had. The Ark of the Covenant, just open it. Everyone's dead. Close it. We're alright. We know the technology. We'll wear the ephod. And the ephod is a collection of stones in a particular order. Now look at electronic circuitry.
The breastplate of the high priest.
Yes, the breastplate of the high priest was the ephod.
And certain stones were in that breastplate, like citrine, for instance, is a very powerful crystal, isn't it?
Right, and they had a certain effect.
But on a vibrational level, it's
they could touch and handle the ark.
Citrine's very strong.
They knew how to touch and handle the ark, but anybody just touches it. Even in Ethiopia, the story goes, there was carrying the real ark back in the day, not a copy. And the reason they stopped carrying the real ark is because one day they was carrying it and it slipped. And this guy reached out to catch it to stop the ark from falling. But just the act of touching it, he dropped down dead. And since that day, everybody's been scared to take the ark out. At least that's the story in Ethiopia. Maybe they're lying to make their faith feel a bit stronger. But every year, they have the celebration of Timkat, which is the celebration of the return of the ark with Queen of Sheba. She came from King Solomon's temple, King Solomon's mine, and took back the ark and brought it to Ethiopia. And there it has resided for the last 2,000 and odd years. The original Queen of Sheba is not just a fictional character, you know, all this.
No,
that existed.
Yeah. I mean, those are the kind of characters you can actually believe in.
She had a child
Yeah.
with Solomon. She had a child with Solomon. And there the line became split. Because after Solomon, Israel went into captivity. And those tribes that was looking after the things of God, the Benjaminite tribe and the Levite tribes and things like that, they fled and they followed the northeasterly wind from Israel, which leads you to the Isles, the British Isles. There they came to Ireland, the land of the patriarch, and they had with them the harp and the stone of destiny, which is under the Queen's throne, and a copy of the ark.
What's the harp?
The harp?
I don't know about the harp.
The harp is King David's harp.
Right.
He played music. David was a musician. He used music to soothe the savage beast, the savageness in man.
Oh, right.
Being an excellent player, he'd come and play before he would even talk to them. Yeah. King David was a man after God's heart. He wasn't perfect though. He was a man. You know, he made mistakes. His mistake was lusting after a woman so much he sent his best friend Uriah to the front of the battlefield, knowing that he'll be killed so that he can have a man's wife. That's how bad man can be. So don't say King David anything. King David had so much blood on his hands through killing so much men just to establish Israel that he couldn't possibly build the temple of God, because God just would have seen it as it's an unclean thing. It's not going to be for you. It's going to be for Solomon. Solomon's your son. And Solomon built the temple of God, which is supposedly in Jerusalem, which they've now built the mosque on. You know, in Jerusalem city. least the most complete history that we could get is by looking at the Bible and saying, okay, these things have happened. This is a condensed version of our history. If you want to know more, go and study more about Queen of Sheba and her lineage. Go study more about the kings of Israel. You know, that's what Chronicles is all about. It's just about this king begat that person, begat that person, begat that person. Just generations. You're just getting genealogy. Now the queen herself can only be the queen because she can trace her ancestry all the way back to Jesus Christ, and from Jesus Christ back to Adam. That's why she sat on the throne of destiny. It has to be in the bloodline. But also look at how they've also claimed that their bloodline comes from Dracula. So it is the usurping of, you know, God's righteous things, because it went to Ireland and he had a king in Ireland for a bit. And the patriarch, St. Patrick's Day, chased out all the snakes out of Ireland and cleansed it. And they always remember St. Patriarch's Day, St. Patrick's Day, but now it's a drunken remembrance. They don't have any idea or any clue that it was about a restoration of the faith, because they were dealing with paganism. It's a symbolism thing again. He didn't chase no snakes. He took the snake spirit out of people that were there living like demonic creatures, sacrificing to what blood god. That's bullshit. Love, man. Love. That's the real thing. Established that on that. And then they had a kingdom. Then it moved from Ireland to Scotland. And they had the king in Scotland. And then that's what William Wallace was all about. Fighting over that. Who's got the throne? Who has the right to have the throne? Robert the Bruce. That's our throne you stole from us, English. To set yourself up as the people. But, you know, God gives it to whose right it is, you see. And from that came the unification. Without unification, we do not have Great Britain, the birthright people. What? Whose birthright? Isaac's sons. The same Isaac, who was the son of the father of the faithful, Abraham, who became Abraham when he was going to kill his son and didn't. And he laughed. That's what his name means, laughter, Isaac. God's laughing. He knows his plan. You just, in your little bit, you know the plan, do you? Look at him. Oh, bless him. That's us, children. All of us are God's children. We absolutely know nothing compared to God, who's got the whole plan, who's told certain people the blueprint, and it's just profound to us. Wow, he knows that. No, God knows that. He's above a man. That's above a man. That's beyond a man. That's Superman. That's Jesus Christ in the man. Je suis, I am. Oh! Oh shit, I forgot I'm recording that.
Oh, it was interesting that what you just said.
Maybe that's why I left it recording.
No, I'll leave it. Are you still recording, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, because I haven't finished reading this out yet. I'm just thinking about... Oh, right, okay, so...
Stories of the gods, man.
Well, it's interesting.
Which are metaphors for the disciples, which are metaphors for...
It's a high interest account, isn't it? Right, okay.
If you bank on love, it is. You get a lot of interest.
Yeah. The love bank. That's what we need to open up, isn't it? The love bank. We are the love bank anyway. We just by saying it there, we are the love bank.
I employ people to give hugs.
We are the love bank.
I employ people to go around and say, "You're okay."
We are the love
Or
bank.
write a nice letter and say, "Hello, how are you today? I hope you're well." Mind you, they'll probably give that to robots, won't they? Because people don't want to do the hard work. That's why evil doesn't really... Evil's not very strong, really. It's pretty scared. You know? It's not the right environment for evil to flourish in every single orifice. You know what I mean? There's plenty of pockets of good and plenty of areas where light shines. So evil tries to watch its step. Tries to hide in the shadows while it's doing its evil. Tries to amass its strength by creating more like itself. You know?
I need to find out now what the other thing was, because there was another one. So you were going to tell me about Job, was it?
Yeah, in a nutshell, you see, in Job, it's quite significant because it describes the relationship between what we call good and evil, God and the devil, the symbolism of those things, what they represent, the spirits that enter into man. Satan is allowed to tempt and test man, but Satan's not the one killing the man. Satan can't kill you.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I've just looked up.
He can scare you though, he can fear you.
Pyrrhic victory, this is what it says, right? About Pyrrhic victory. That's Pyrrhic. Pyrrhic victory. Excuse me. And this is from Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia. A Pyrrhic victory is a victory that inflicts such a devastating toll on the victor that it is tantamount to defeat.
Right.
Someone who wins a Pyrrhic victory, I knew this already, this is sounding familiar to me. Someone who wins a Pyrrhic victory, I've heard this before definitely, has been victorious in some way. However, the heavy toll negates any sense of achievement or profit. Another term for this would be hollow victory.
Yes.
Hollow victory.
Right. Well, look at how many people come up against the system and lose so much, you know, that what they're fighting for, that's not what's important. And therefore, that's why I looked at all this Freeman thing from the beginning, even where it's coming from and why it's coming to us, in the way it's coming to us, to fractionalise and divide us into so many different issues. We don't know each other again. We start off by thinking that we know each other, but then all these side tangents come, because that's your life and that's the way that your life is kind of pulling you in that direction, and not everybody's going to want to go in that direction with you. So then it's like, well, I'm isolated now. I started out like feeling like everybody's with me, but now I'm stuck with this problem to answer. Everybody's got their own forms of problem, because all we've done is create a mindset where we go looking for,
you have to take
things to take
there are certain
responsibility
things
for.
you have to take responsibility for. You know, there is no other way. Right, it's got a bit about the etymology of the word.
Yeah, well, I would say Pyrrhic victory would be nuclear war, because, you know, there's not going to be a victor in that if everybody lets off their nuclear weapons.
War.
That is also true.
Any war.
But a great analogy.
Any war is Pyrrhic victory, and funnily enough, that's where it comes from. The phrase Pyrrhic victory is named after King Pyrrhus, like pyrotechnics, Pyrrhus, of Epirus, whose armies suffered irreplaceable casualties in defeating the Romans at Heraclea in 280 BC. It's round about the same time as they're talking about that statue.
Yeah, so that is to celebrate the victory.
And Asculum in 279 BC during the Pyrrhic War. After the latter battle, Plutarch relates in a report by Dionysius, the armies separated, and it is said Pyrrhus replied to one that gave him joy of his victory that one other such victory would utterly undo him, for he had lost a great part of the forces he brought with him, and almost all his particular friends and principal commanders. There were no others there to make recruits, and he found the Confederates in Italy backward. On the other hand, as from a fountain continually flowing out of the city, the Roman camp was quickly and plentifully filled up with fresh men, not at all abating in courage for the loss they sustained, but even from their very anger gaining new force and resolution to go on with the war.
So you said before victory, aggression.
See, they know all of this, and that's what it seems like. That's why it seems like we've got a fucking avalanche, a tsunami of shit coming our way all the time, and there's no respite, because they're just, unless somebody changes it, and now
50% of the people are paying for the other 50% to live.
Yeah, and
how vampiric a system is that? Energy vampires. You know, it's like, it's time for real change, man. And the only change I can do is to change myself.
In both of Pyrrhus' victories, the Romans suffered greater casualties than Pyrrhus did. However, the Romans had much larger supply of men. Supply of men.
I know, because it's a resource, isn't it?
Supply of men from which to draw soldiers.
Yeah.
And their casualties did less damage to their war effort than Pyrrhus' casualties did to his. The report is often quoted as another such victory, and I come back to Epirus alone. Or if we are victorious in one more battle with the Romans, we shall be utterly ruined. The term is used as an analogy in fields such as business, politics, and sports to describe struggles that end up ruining the victor. Excuse me. Theologian Reinhold Niebuhr, for example, commented on the necessity of coercion in preserving the course of justice by warning moral reason must learn how to make coercion its ally without running the risk of a Pyrrhic victory in which the ally exploits and negates the triumph. Well, am I not in that situation myself right now?
Yeah, it's a warning, isn't it? Sounds like a warning that you should be heeding that.
Yeah.
You know, don't look for a Pyrrhic victory. You know, don't sacrifice so much to gain this victory that you lose everything so much.
You need to understand, what people don't realise is that without reading books and learning things like the art of war from a book, where you can learn the art of war because someone's written it down, it's the distillation of knowledge and understanding gained from fighting wars that has been passed on in a book. And you can read it and at least have a little understanding. And a little understanding.
The art of war, I suppose a lot of people will say, oh yeah, you know, they prefer that book to, say, another book like the Bible, which might be considered the art of love. But then, for some people, it's considered to also be the art of war.
The art of war is responsibility and being able to manage your responsibilities well, isn't it?
Man is in dualism.
Well,
good and evil exists in mankind. And one makes us kinder, one makes us less kind. You know, good makes us kinder, evil makes us less kind. That behaviour, that is our character. That's what we show the world. You know.
What is the victory of evil over good?
The victory of evil over good. Well, I don't really want to entertain such a thing. I want to look at the victory of good over evil, which it cannot be a Pyrrhic victory. It must be even accompanied with noble failures, because the only way you're going to get to noble success is everything in that chain must be noble. Otherwise it can't be. It started off, oh, this bit of evil created this noble thing.
But if something's noble, then by creating a noble thing, then there has to be something that isn't noble.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of that. Take a corporation that has ethics and values and doesn't do things to hurt anybody, versus another corporation that's just interested in making money and does everything it can to avoid liability for the damages it's causing. You know, that terminology, if you look at a corporation, is psychopathic. They do stuff in the world and they don't care it's hurting people.
Yep.
Now, actually look at how some people's behaviour is because of what they do every day in their job, or just because they're not really thinking consciously. That's psychopathic behaviour. That's hurting people.
Yeah.
And not being sorry for it either.
Yeah. No remorse.
No remorse.
Because of their own ignorance.
But also because we are like apologists for everything that they do to us. It's like, go on, it's alright, yeah, hurt me again.
Because I don't know how to stop you.
Yeah. Only by saying no.
Through my ignorance, but why am I ignorant?
Because the word is a powerful word. Yes, is seen as is a positive word. It makes people happy. It makes people think you're agreeing to something, and things move forward to a certain extent. But have you considered the word no and its powerful implications? A lot of people see the word no as that's negative. Nothing's going to happen if you say no. But actually, it affirms another state. Yeah. So if something should continue, you probably say yes. If something shouldn't continue, you probably say no. And you've got your reasons for saying no. You can see or foresee that to do that action might cause some harm, some wrong. And you don't want to do that. So your power of discernment gives you the ability to say no. And that is a powerful word. Just as powerful as yes. But it's got to be used in the right time, hasn't it? And that's why we must be mindful of our environment, mindful of what's going on around us. You know, be observant, be vigilant, and try to teach people. I mean, the worst thing is when some of these people, they just send in, you know, a demand for money. And they're not explaining nothing on that document that they sent to you. So you ask some questions about what they've just sent you. You know, you're entitled to ask that. And that's where they go into this flip mode. Because all they're used to is just handing out documents and people just obeying the orders. Like, we're paid by them or something. It's like, as soon as you question it, you're wrong. Hold on, your document says we're not wrong. Well, it says that, but, you know, like some people believe, you just don't get justice in the real world. Well, why is that? Because you're cowering away. And you think that because I'm actually asking certain pertinent questions, I'm wrong for doing that. I think that's what's wrong with the world. You know, don't change things. Don't upset the apple cart. Someone's going to get upset. Someone's going to get hurt. You know, what you're saying is going to affect them and their power to do their job. I'm like, no, it'll make them better at their job. You need to include the people you're talking about rather than, you know, keeping them at bay, at arm's length. That just builds up this resentment. And then who's going to bridge that gap? Is it you or is it me? Are we all going to come and sit in that room and all be friends now? And it's like, well, don't matter, Jules. You know, we just said last letter we said you're a cunt, but now you're okay. You know, but next time we write you a letter, we'll still say you're a cunt. It's like, why are you doing that? You're sitting here, you're being nice to me, but on paper you're saying I'm that. It's like, is that narcissistic? Is that false and pretentious? Is that psychopathic behaviour? Knowing that really, me talking and you talking, complete waste of time that, because it's what you're putting down on paper, that's what you're working by, that's what you're recording and getting this information from. And if that information's wrong, then, you know, it makes us look bad. And so I've got to ask the question, are you intentionally trying to make me look bad? Because I don't start off trying to make these people look bad. I'm just asking questions about, you know, I need some help with this. And my letters used to be quite small. It used to be like, hold on, I've asked a simple question. You've not answered that. You sent me 10 things to now answer. Because you're working with different departments who control all those different aspects. And that wakes you up and makes you realise this government has got hooks and claws like I'm in the frigging Matrix here. How many plugs are in my head and in my arms and in my legs? And I can't function, and I can't move. But I'm free. You know, just go back to sleep. We've got one who's waking up here, now go back to sleep.
Well,
how can you exist in that reality?
People are going to welcome the chip, because they're going to be like, well, thank God I can switch that off.
Yeah.
I can switch that off.
Turn off care. A lot of people will be, because they already experiment with the technology, you know, where the interface between organic brains and computers.